Unleaded Toast presents An Elegy in Crimson, Episode 7, Philip Moulin. If you like what you hear, consider liking and subscribing, or just leave a comment for us. It means a lot, and your feedback is important. Thank you. Before we begin, a kindness of sorts. This unholy elegy touches dark things. Violence, betrayal, power twisted until it screams, coercion, obsession, regret. The decay of love, yes, but also the predatory ecstasy of domination. The vampires you'll meet, although they're not brooding romantics, they're apex predators dressed in silk and shadow. And the mortals? Oh, they're sheep, fleeting, often forgotten. Unless they amuse. They will kill you. They will seduce you. They will destroy what they love the most. Violence here is not without prejudice. Oh, and it is very rarely gentle. Some episodes will hurt. Some may unearth your own forgotten wounds. Oh, you have permission to pause, to breathe, to walk away. But if you stay knowing the void watches back. Reality folds in on itself. You stand in a sterile, infinite expanse, stripped of time, color, and meaning. It's the void. A flat, pallid light seeps from nowhere and everywhere. No texture, no echo, no shadow. Only absence. And the ache of a judgment yet to come. The air hangs heavy with the weight of the unknown. The silence is total. Not peaceful, but rather suffocating. Then, a single point of gold light flares with theatrical bravado. The facilitator has arrived. They do not break the silence, no, they remix it. Silk swishes, a lacquered nail gleams, a glove snaps into place. Oh, darling, they purr. What a fabulous show you prepared for us. A sly smile, a fingertip on the lips. Oh, shh, my pet. This won't hurt much. Agony blooms, not of flesh, but of soul. Memories surge, kisses to ash, betrayals fossilized, pleasures curdled into cruelty. Each strips away the armor around your cursed heart. A massive leather-bound tome erupts into being. Oh, it's the book of records. The pages tremble eagerly. And a bone-white quill hovers, dipping into unseen ink. It waits. With a sweep of the facilitator's hand, the void peels back. An amphitheater of black stone and gold arises, lit flickering by unnatural flames. The audience fills the tears. Living, dead, broken, victims, witnesses, lovers, enemies, all whisper your name in 10,000 tongues. You stand exposed at the center, a predator no more, only prey. The void is now a stage, and the crowd demands your story. The facilitator ascends a narrow beam of light, garments swirling like ink in water. Gods, old ones, angels and demons, and psychopomps of all persuasions. Witnesses eternal and forgotten. Welcome. The lights go out. A spotlight comes up, focused on the facilitator. With a flourish, they raise a chalice and pour the contents onto the floor. Forgotten prayers in Latin cascade across the marble like spilled incense. Their robes shimmer like candlelight in a cathedral dark. Oh, a scholar, a healer, a man of God made monstrous. Oh, he bled for the church until holiness became a habit he could no longer wear. From Tripoli to the Vatican, he whispered heresies into the holy ears and drank knowledge as others drank wine. He sought salvation in scriptures, but found damnation in desire, seduced by a creature older than the creeds he swore to uphold. Oh, he traded breath for brilliance and penance for power, and now he stands unbreathing but not unburdened. Oh, he's burdened by brilliance, haunted by faith. Welcome, dear sinners, to the Elegy of Philip Moulin. Oh, we adore such a beginning. This is so ripe, and we have such a wonderful show for you tonight. Let's go back to the soft pink dawn before it all curdles into shadows. Here we find our... Well, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Are you quite finished, Potonier?
Oh, we have a spicy one with us tonight. Proceed.
I was born in Champeau, near Paris, the last day of May in 1137, the year of our Lord, as you might say. I was a smart child, precocious, some said. It wasn't long before I took service with a local master, learning medicine and scholarship. How much detail are you expecting here? Do you want me to go through birthdays and...
We want to hear it all, every delicious detail. Tell us more about those days before indiscretion stole your breath.
I thought I would do well. Master William taught me of languages, science such as it was in that time, history, and eventually he took me with him to Tripoli, the one in Lebanon, not the one in what you now call Syria, to serve the Crusaders there and learn what the aftermath of war might look like. And I did. It was hot and crowded and miserable and bloody. I learned more of medicine there than I did in any halls or books. And in my own time, I did some exploration in the ruins outside the city. Found an old text which claimed to be a manuscript of Aristotle. And it taught me a great deal, not just about biology. In the course of my duties with Master William, I saved the life of a man who turned out to be a legate of the Pope.
Oh, that's delicious.
Yes, and in reward, I was brought back to Venice. He was not allowed in the Vatican at that time. It was a time of great strife, you see. And His Holiness Alexander III took me into service as his personal physician.
Do I detect a little bit of sarcasm? Anger? What is that? Help me out a little bit.
Only a little?
I think you and I are going to get along quite well.
I disagree. But yes, as I spent more time in the surroundings of the papal person, I began to see that, the religion and faith were all just show and shadow. They're still as greedy and base and venal as any humble farmer or noble lord. They just have more gold and more crucifixes to show for it. Eventually, I decided that I had had enough, but a pope is not one you simply walk away from. Not this one. He was inexplicably fond of me. But going around Europe at that time was a letter that purported to be from the ancient Christian king Prester John, whose lost kingdom somewhere beyond the Mediterranean was the last Christian kingdom in pagan lands, you see. And so I brought it to His Holiness, showed him how this Prester John deeply wanted to learn the proper ways of Christianity, and if only someone could be sent to him to pass on this wisdom, what a great success that would be. And, like the enlightened idiot he was, he gave me a blessed crucifix and a letter and a pouch of gold coins and told me to go seek out Prester John and teach him the ways of Catholicism. And so I walked out that door richer than I had ever been.
And so the moment, I can sense it, it's almost here, isn't it?
Yes.
Tell me about the moment that the world slipped sideways. I want to hear every single detail.
The journey took us to Egypt. And while I was there, you must understand I was nearly 40 at that time. Healthy enough, but still an old man by the standards of the day. So when I found a beautiful, slim Arabic woman who expressed an interest in me, with my newfound freedom, it was not difficult for her to win me over. And when she brought me to her home in the desert on the outskirts of town, I was too blinded by lust to see that she was no woman at all. In time, I learned that she was something called a sila, a type of djinn in those lands. And for 3 days and 3 nights, she took her pleasure from me. She claimed to want to be with child, and for whatever reason, she had chosen me. And then, when she was done with me, she stole my breath from my lungs and with it my mortal life.
Oh, that is so tragic. Oh, it's so much like you mortals, you cannot see through what's right in front of your eyes. So tell me, what mark did she leave?
Well, as I say, she took my breath. I no longer use it. Sometimes I'll pretend to if I think others are watching, but I have no need for it. Well, that's not true. I need it from others, but I do not use it myself, not in the manner of a mortal.
Tell me, Philip, what twisted rule book governs your hunger? What's the nature of your monstrosity?
I need breath from a living mortal man or woman, drawn from the mouth. At first, all I could do was kill them. I did not know any better, but over time, I learned that I could leave them confused and weary, take just enough to sustain myself. And, like any mortal man, I will run out of breath if I run or exert myself in too many ways. If I am calm and relaxed, the breath of a full-grown man or woman can sustain me for several days. But if I'm active, I must feed more often.
Oh, that is tragic. But you know what? That's interesting. I don't think I've heard very many of your kind before. You're a different type of abomination. So tell me, Philip, when the hunger first took hold, who was that tender soul whose life you shredded between your claws? Who did you love so dearly that you couldn't resist devouring them? And when their eyes dimmed, tell me, what did you feel? Did you feel powerful? I bet you did.
You think you understand me, but you don't.
I'm just here to get the story.
Yes, of course. Well, as I returned from the desert, sunburnt and scratched, exhausted, my faithful manservant Maffeo came to me as I made my way back to the lodging house where we had been. He was overjoyed that I was alive and clucked over my condition like a mother hen. He brought me to our rooms, bathed me, tended my burns. He asked me what had happened. And I told him. I told him everything. I could see the horror and the fear in his eyes as he crossed himself, wondered aloud what I had encountered, and didn't say, but I could tell he was thinking, wondered what I had become. I assured him I was fine. All I needed was rest. And he believed me. I almost believed myself at the time. But that night, when he slept the sleep of exhausted relief, I went to him. If anyone had been watching, they would likely have thought of it as a kiss, as though I were susceptible to the English vice, seeking out a young man for the pleasures of his flesh. But no. I put my mouth over his, and I drew in every breath in his body. His breath tasted like sour wine and fear, and his eyes were open as I held him down and drew the last air in his lungs into mine. And I felt so alive, so full to bursting of energy and vigor. And I knew then that I could not go back to what I had been. Is that what you wanted to hear?
Oh, yes. That's exactly what we wanted. Delicious, almost enough to make one pity that little manservant. Almost. But really, they're such versatile creatures, aren't they? Companions, toys, and when all else fails, dinner. Oh, thank you, darling. So for you, it's a kiss. That's interesting. That's been used several times in history. So how did you feel about society? Were you ashamed of what you'd become? Did you go scurrying into the shadows? Or did you go on a rampage?
I was not a monster. I did not wish to cause any more deaths than I already had, so I reported his unfortunate and unexpected death far too young. And then I set about trying to make a life for myself in a land far from where anyone knew me. I did what I had to survive, but I did not want torches and pitchforks, as we would come to know them later, coming after me, so I was careful. I was quiet. I was cautious. And for a time, I was successful.
Tell me, where did you go?
I stayed in Egypt for a while. I knew Arabic. And periodically, it would become a bit uncomfortable. There had been too many disappearances too near my home. I would make my way up the coast. Eventually, I took ship back to Tripoli. I was reasonably sure at the time that Master William was dead and no one else there would really remember me. And that was a good time.
But you noticed something, didn't you? Something about your body. You began to mimic something monstrous. I know you don't like the term, but let's be real, you're a monster. Something monstrous, a dreadful little flourish that your body has conjured to echo the one who damned you. What was it? How did you become a pale parody of your master?
Mistress, you might say. But yes, my mouth began to change. The longer I went without feeding, the blacker my lips became, the rounder and emptier my mouth, so I looked like a leech or a lamprey. I had to keep myself well fed, or it would be too obvious that I was something other than a man.
You know, that's kind of horrifying. I mean, even for me, who's seen so much. But you know what? You weren't too careful, were you? Someone saw you for what you are, didn't they? Do tell, where did you scamper off to? Your tail tucked between your legs, your secrets unraveling. And when you arrived in that new and strange world, what name did you don?
Well, it was the little street girl. I could have destroyed her, you know, when she saw me feeding, dropping the body, but I didn't know at the time what stayed my hand, but I did flee. I took ship around France, around Spain, into Portugal, recently itself conquered back from the Muslims. I took the name João and made myself a home in Oporto.
Something happened to you there.
Something happens to everyone everywhere.
Okay, yes, but this was really nice. I love this part. You met someone that you became close to. Someone who would help you. What did they do for you?
Renata was a criminal, to be honest. She made her way through cities in the night, taking what was not hers, using her body and her wits to line her pockets. And again, it seems to be a recurring theme that women find me when I'm at my most vulnerable. But yes, she found me as I was feeding. And instead of screaming or fleeing, she simply watched.
How spicy. So she was a voyeur.
After a fashion, I suppose. I turned my face from my victim and looked at her. She said, in modern terms, that bitch owed me money. And so she taught me the ways of the night in the back alleys of that city, and I helped protect her and dealt with any angry victims who managed to track her down. It was a good relationship. I think if she had not seen me as I was, she might have tried to seduce me, but she knew better.
Well, then tell me, my little pet. Why did you murder her?
I murdered her because she did not seduce me. I still had the needs of a mortal man, and it had been a long time. And one night, when I had fed deeply, I came back and saw her in her youth, relatively, and her beauty. And I decided I wanted more from her, and she did not want to give it. So I pressed discussed the matter. She resisted, and as is so often the case when a woman, especially in that time, tried to deny a man what he desires, especially a man who is no longer quite a man, things took their course. There are not many things from my lifetime that I regret, but that was one. That was one.
You are a shattered little star, aren't you?
I'm a man and a monster and a fool. Beyond that, who knows?
So we're going to jump ahead a little bit here. I think now, I don't know, I'm so terrible with dates. I think you're in about 1250 to 1300, something like that. Faith, knowledge, and power, and they're such a dangerous plaything for someone like you. And yet you, our lovely little parasite, you could not help yourself, could you? You poked at sacred things, you dared to dissect the divine. And you shed your belief like an old skin, replacing it with secrets and scars. Let's explore this chapter of your life. The chapter that you dance with blasphemy and waltz through forbidden libraries. Oh, let's open this up. This is going to be beautiful. So you develop a system for feeding, correct?
It was necessary, yes.
Well, speak up, explain. We're not going to let you get away with just that.
It was simple enough. I found usually men or women who were drunk or otherwise unwell. Not sick ones. I did not want plague-ridden air in my lungs. But I found them and I attempted to help them home, and at some point I took what I needed from them. They were already half unconscious most of the time, so it was a simple enough matter for me to get what I needed without killing them and leave them asleep and unaware. I suspect that some of them may have been mugged afterwards, but I tried to get them back into their homes.
What about the bodies?
Well, when I was not disturbed by an overly perceptive young woman, I usually disposed of them in a river. That was the best option at the time. There are many bridges in Oporto, and it was never too great a journey to find one and slip them quietly into the waters. Eventually, of course, people started making connections and recognizing the face of the strange old man who had been speaking to them when they were lost. And of course, I had to move in the fullness of time, but it worked well for long enough.
Where were you when you first realized that you could be wounded by the sacred? Oh, that is so amazing. It is so ironic. Sacred wounding the damned.
When I first changed, I was wearing a crucifix around my neck that had been blessed by the Pope. So if there was any protection in such artifacts, I had proven it false. And indeed, many times over the years, my targets have pulled forth crucifixes, stars, any manner of prayers, Bibles, to try to protect themselves from me, and none of them stopped me, except that little girl in Tripoli. She quoted the words of the prophet from the Quran at me, and I could not take a step closer to her. I think perhaps it's because of what she was, the one who changed me. I think at least I thought then, that she was one of the spirits, or descended from them, that Solomon had bound so many centuries before. And that is what led me to research those ancient arcane ways. If there was a way that words could protect others from me, well, I needed to understand that and see what I could use for myself.
So you became a scholar of the shadows, didn't you? What wisdom did you discover that was hidden from most? How did your nature give you special insight to that? I really want to know.
I found what would eventually become known as the Lesser Key of Solomon in a back of a used bookshop in Salamanca. And understand, I had seen so many ancient manuscripts in life and in death that were nothing but nonsense. Men who thought themselves wise or thought other men fools, writing down what they thought would gain them power or long life or coin. But this was something different. This was a recipe book, you might say. The names of demons and the ways to call them and what they might provide in return. So I decided to test it.
That is really interesting. Tell me about the test.
I'm not going to recap all of the rituals and preparations. They are as tedious to describe as they were to do. But eventually, I called up what was supposedly a great general among the spirits, and I asked him, if he could make me mortal again.
You what? Oh, my darling.
And he laughed, yes, as so many of you are laughing. I asked to be changed back. I was not pleased with what I had become, and perhaps the study brought me a moment or two of clarity. But he laughed and said that what had been done, not God himself could undo.
That is probably true.
So I gathered other favors from him.
He gave you an artifact, didn't he?
He did.
And it was not just a simple artifact. It was really potent.
It was.
What did he give you and what did you do with it?
It was a medallion, old and bronze, older than anything I had held in my hand, I will say. On one side was Solomon's seal, and on the other a rune in a language I did not understand. But what I do know is that it kept others from seeing what I was until it was too late. I could present the face of a young, handsome courtier or a desperate yet beautiful beggar girl, or those who passed me in the streets. It was as though I knew what they wanted, what they needed to see, and it showed them until it was too late.
That must have been very useful.
Oh, yes.
Do you still have that?
No. No.
You could hide from most. But you drew attention to yourself. Yes, it was peer recognition at last. Who saw past the facade and saw the rot beneath your robes? What kin came after you?
I don't know if I would call them kin, but his name was Manolo. At least that was the name he was using at the time. And he looked far younger than I, but in time I learned that he was far older. He, in fact, had lain with Zayla, the very one who changed me some centuries before I had. And he recognized me, and he called me little brother in a smarmy voice not unlike yours.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
And he said that there was no room in Europe for two such as we, and that he did not intend to leave. Perhaps he did have some sympathy for a fellow sufferer, or perhaps he was just full, but he gave me the chance to leave without fighting him. And at that time, I took it.
Where did you go?
England.
Oh, England. You've pretty much made your way all around the region, haven't you?
That was the world at the time. Where else would I go? Could go into the Far East, I suppose, but I would stand out even more there than I did in Spain and Portugal. But, yes, England, London. Just a town at that time, but growing obscenely fast.
So, what else did he take from you?
Oh, the medallion, of course.
Oh, of course.
He knew its power as soon as he saw it.
What did you get in return? Now, I know creatures like you, it's never just one-sided. What did you take?
I made the connection when I saw him. As I said, mortals can recognize what I am by my mouth, but there's a glint in the eye, which you can only see if it reflects one that is in your own. And I had seen it in Zayla's eyes, and when I knew what to look for, I saw it in his, and that was valuable knowledge.
Nice. So you recognized the mark of others like you.
Indeed.
So when you went to England, you met your next great love, didn't you?
I think that is a rather ambitious term for it. We passed time together.
Yes, but this was a little different because this love sent you on a mission, on something stupid for a creature like yourself. And yet you bowed down and you demeaned yourself to take it on. What did your love ask you to do?
Is that the story she told you? Or is it all in your precious book?
Well, the book isn't written yet.
It doesn't matter.
That's what we're doing now.
Of course. Well, Mary, the most prosaic of names, asked me what should have been a simple thing, really. Asked me to take care of someone for her, someone who had wronged her. An Arab man, a Muslim. There were some in England those days, though not nearly as many. They were no longer to be arrested or slain on sight. That time had passed, but she knew that I was physically competent, shall we say, and said that he had wronged her and needed to be punished. And, well, that was something I could accomplish. And indeed, when I tracked him down in the rooms he was renting, it was so easy. Pin him down, beat him, tell him it was in her name, of course. And then just as I approached to finish things, he began praying with the words of the prophet, and again I was pushed back as though by a gale wind.
That must have been disconcerting.
bastard grinned at me, and I had no choice but to leave. I would not be surprised if he could have killed me, had he tried. So I fled.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Not as sorry as I was, nor Mary for that matter.
Tell me what happened.
Oh, I took it out on her.
Oh.
I assumed, as madmen might, that she had deliberately sent me into a trap. You must understand, I had been living for hundreds of years at this point, living, if you call it that. And I could count on the fingers of one hand the things that had actually threatened me, so for her to put me in the presence of another was too much a coincidence for me. So I did to her what I could not do to him.
Well now, that's the monster we all know and love. Ah, there it is. The first sip, the first slip. From Master William's halls to Tripoli's dust, from the Pope's perfume chambers to the djinn's desert bed. How far you wandered, darling, before you ever left the garden. And now how predictably you stumbled, mouth on a faithful manservant, drawing out his last trembling breath like a prayer you no longer believed in. A physician, a scholar, a seeker of lost truths, and yet here we find you, a thief of air, a lamprey in human skin, kissing life away. Oh, do you taste it still, Philip? That sour wine and fear on Mateo's lips, that moment you stopped pretending you could go back. Oh, this is the end of the beginning. The breath before the plunge. And now the hunger coils tighter. Now the mask begins to form. Oh, our audiences know, don't they? Once you kill what you love, you're never the same again. Let the ink dry, my sweet relic. The curtain falls on innocence. Episode 2 awaits. Philip has been brought to unlife by Brian Schoner. Darling, he is a creature of games of every kind you can imagine. Dice that rattle like bones, boards stacked with peril, glowing screens that devour hours. Oh, and even riddles of the mind. When he steps away from the table, his bass guitar fills the air with something dark and low. A hypnotist, too. Yes, you heard me. Beware his voice it coils. He's also co-host of Ascenta Board Games, a podcast weaving cardboard dreams and paper empires. If you crave to pursue him in the ether, seek him on Blue Sky. The links can be found in the description below. Darling, follow him if you're willing to tempt fate. As always, thank you for stepping into the void with us. If this tale left you breathless, leave a review, whisper it to a friend, or simply sit in the hush. But remember, this is only the first breath. The hunger is only beginning to stir, the faith not yet fully shattered. Philip will return, colder, wiser, his breath sharpened on scripture and sin. Until then, the book remains ajar. The quill still trembles. Oh, and you, my beloved witnesses, you would do well to hold your prayer.